Hi all.
Hello, everyone. All right, I'll just send another reminder to the chat. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Nice. Okay. I guess yeah, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PeerDAS call. Okay, I think it looks like we're missing a few clients, but I guess we can get started now. Yeah, I think okay. Yeah, I can give a bit of update on the Lighthouse side to start with. I've been looking into a interop issue with Prism lately, and there was an issue where the gossip data columns were not getting sent to the Prism node, and Manu discovered that Lighthouse is actually sending prune messages to the Prism nodes. So we looked into that and we found out that it was caused by a race condition. And it's kind of related to distributed block publishing. So it's when we send a I want request to a Prism node, and then we actually get the block from the EL, and by the time when Prism respond to us, we treat it as a duplicate, so we ignore the message. But then after a while, we thought that Prism didn't respond back to us, so we actually downscore them in libp2p, and then prune them as a mesh peer. So it was a kind of interesting race condition, but we have a fix for that, which is good. It's a good find. Thanks, Manu. And then other than this, we've got a few sync fixes that are currently under PR reviews. And I have been also working on the spec changes for distributed block publishing. There isn't actually a lot of changes, but I just want to have a clarification section similar to what we have with the NEB get blobs. So just to specify what's the behavior once we get the blob from the EL. Yeah, I should have that draft out maybe tomorrow for review, and I'll ping in the chat. Yeah, other than that, we're just doing a bit of testing on DevNet 5, and we'll continue working on validated custody. That's all from Lighthouse, and I'll pass it on to Manu.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, so I work a little bit on the issue that Jamie just described a few minutes ago about pruning stuff. Also, yeah, 2 weeks ago, I finished the pull request about validator custody, but because of the Holesky events, this pair was not reviewed. And so Nishant right now is reviewing it. I did the last fix. I hope this pair will be merged today. Also, I start working on backfill, not only validator custody backfill, but backfill in general. So currently Prism backfills blocks and blobs, but not columns. And so I work on it for backfill from checkpoint sync. And after, of course, for when the validator custody increases. Also, we discover a nasty bug in Prism, like currently we store columns in a file, so one column is equal one file on the file system. And the issue is with 18 days rotation period for supernode, we got more than 10 million files. And we on the devnet we exploited the inode, the inode limitation, and so the Prism wasn't able to write anything on the disk, and so we have to work on a new design of the database to store data columns, every data columns in one file. That's all I did, and also we have Niran from Base who worked on the fact that we can request from by root columns from any peers, not only from supernodes. It was already the case for by range request, but not by root. So thanks, Niran. And Francis worked on the get block v2. So I know there is still no execution layer supporting this, but he still worked on it in Prism to be ready when an execution layer is ready. And also Francis worked a little bit on an issue we had in our database and data columns as well. Yeah, that's all. Dimitri?
Yeah, Teku, we are working on validator custody. Not much progress on it, was distracted with Holesky issues, but this week I am 100% on this, and I think we will have good progress to the next meeting. That's all for Teku.
Thanks, Dimitri. I guess Nimbus, Agnish, you have any updates?
So a couple of days ago, I saw a weird incident in PeerDAS DevNet 5 where Nimbus had forked off, and very peculiarly, it was forking off at a slot for which the previous slot there was no blob sidecars. So I'm currently investigating that. Along with that, I'm also working on validator custody, but most of my attention is right now towards Nimbus's column syncer. Effectively, we are not, so our entire column syncing mechanism is very independent. We are not downloading blocks under the same sync handler. There's a different sync handler that downloads blocks so that we can sync fast and we can gradually backfill. And since we are not downloading blocks along with columns, it becomes difficult to group columns. So for that, I'm using the hash tree root of the signed block header, which is a common thing in every column sidecar, and that's something by which you can group the column sidecars usually. Apart from that, you have there are two mechanisms as we discussed earlier. One is a greedy mechanism where you're optionally querying peers that have higher custody, so that there's a greater likelihood that you can get what you need in lesser range requests. But we also are working on a way in which we can sync totally without supernodes, just by reconstruction and full nodes. We do it basically by range requesting whatever they can provide, and we keep filling the recover matrix. And once it's reconstructible, we reconstruct and we keep backfilling like that. And yeah, I mean, it's more resource exhaustive, and I think it's a bit inefficient too, but not relying totally on supernodes is sort of taking the side of the home sticker. Apart from that, there was a sync issue that occurred in DevNet 5. Basically, what happened is Nimbus lagged behind like a few epochs. I think it was based on how the validator duties were assigned. And what happened is the sync handler got triggered, and surprisingly, the blobs by range was not gated up till Electra. So it started asking for blobs by range, and it got downscored eventually, and all of the nodes went off. So that thing is fixed now, and we are pretty stable in DevNet 5. So that's pretty much about it from my side.
Nice. Great to hear. I just got a question on the dual syncing mechanism. Like, do you default to one of the mechanism like by default, or and do you switch it over to the other one under certain conditions?
So basically, ideally we have a flag, and the default is greedy. But the thing is, it's very easy to estimate your CPU utilization if you are an impartial sinker. Like if you don't like query peers, because like it's kind of stagnant. The CPU utilization doesn't vary based on querying. But if you are querying, it's a completely probabilistic model. So like you really don't know whether you're lucky enough to get somebody with higher custody. And you really don't know how many queries do you need or how many intersections do you need. So that's something.
I see. Thanks. Yeah, it'd be great to see like once you have it implemented, it would be great to see some comparisons.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I should be able to wrap it up by this week max, maybe like early next week. But yeah, it's coming through.
Nice. Thank you. Okay. Do we have Lodestar? Oh, yeah. I see Gajinda. I think Matt can't make the call. Gajinda, do you have anything to update?
Yeah, so basically, as Matt mentioned, that we have almost done with our refactor, and basically we have also put up a PR to simplify how validator custody can be implemented, or is basically also changes it. And, and basically also change how it is helped, how it is written in the specs. So what we want to do. Hello.
Sorry, so here's some background noise. Can someone mute?
I think Dankrad there.
I don't know if we have a host here.
All right, seems to be clear now. So so basically, but what we are proposing is that instead of having a dynamic validator custody, what could be done is that spec, for example, could be reworded to say that the beacon node is started with a supported validator stake amount, and then basically it for that particular node's runtime, that custody is fixed for the beacon node, and then when the validators are connecting to it and for their duties, at that point beacon node can decide whether validators that are attached to it, they are going above that attached stakes threshold, so it can reject the duties of validators that they are going above it, and those errors will then basically show up both in beacon node as well as in validator clients, and the user will be able to figure out, okay, this particular beacon node does not support greater than whatever is the attached amount of stake, whatever is the supported amount of stake in that particular beacon node. And that is basically our proposal. It solves a lot of things because it moves away validator indices from the beacon node operation and the spec where basically it moves that pollution and makes it nicely static. So whenever beacon node is spinned up, it can always check whether it has the custody and can resync before basically accepting duties and all that. So that way things get very simplified and simple for the beacon node and for the validators basically so the current function that says that okay these many validators these validator indices have this much stake in this particular state, that basically gets moved to that those checks get moved to to the beacon and validator APIs and as Cayman also mentioned that maybe there we also define a better mechanism of how to register a validator to a beacon node. That way, once we have that mechanism clearly defined, we can basically even respond with proper error codes at that particular time when a validator is trying to register.
Yeah, I've shared a link in the chat. Francesco, you good. Do you still want to say something? I saw you had your hand up.
I'm sorry, it was by mistake.
Okay, cool. Yekajinda, is the link that I shared the one you were talking about?
Let me check.
4154.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know if teams have had a chance to look at it yet. So maybe we'll spend this week. Yeah, it'd be great if all the clients team can have a look at the proposal, and then we can like just comment on the PI if there's anything that people want to share. Yeah, great. Okay, so we've got Lodestar. There's Grandin here. Have we got Han Liang?
Yes, so for Grandin, for this week, we will try to optimize our syncing logic. So because the syncing right now is we use a lot of resource, so we're facing a resource overload while we're syncing. So we try to optimize that because like the way that we checking to accept the block, we have to delay until the order column are available, and the request load was like huge, so we have to optimize that request. Yes, so this week we will try to fix it, and if we be able to fix it on time in this week, we will try to look into the validator custody.
Nice, thank you, Han Liang.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it would be good to get a temperature check on like where we are with the custody, because I think Barnabas did ask in the chat like whether teams would be ready. I can provide a bit of update on Lighthouse side. We've started working on it. We've got a few PRs open, but we're not close to finishing yet. So I think we probably need another maybe 2 weeks. But I'm not sure. Agnish?
Yeah, so I was curious about maybe a potential spec change, that is if our validator custody changes, like let's say it increases, and what happens is the custody columns, since it's governed by, like I think it's decided by a hash function or something. So I think the numbers, like the indexes, should totally change. So that way, whatever columns we backfill goes corrupt, right? Like, so we need to re-backfill it. Can we like advertise the fact in our ENR or metadata that we are backfilling? So like as an implementation detail or as a spec, people don't downscore us.
So that's not the case, that whatever you had before kind of drops out of the list of things you have to custody. When custody goes up, you custody all of the things you were custodying before and something more. Like it's still it's like a The things you're custodying before is a prefix of your current custody.
Oh, I thought it's random. Okay. But I think still it would make sense to advertise the fact that we are backfilling. And
So
so that
the way we had a concern like this before, the way we decided to handle this was to write in the spec that basically you just don't increase your advertised what's it called, the custody group count until you're done backfilling. So you just don't tell other people that you have a higher custody until you actually have it.
right.
So in the PR 4142, basically, then this also becomes simpler in the sense that before you get synced, you fill up your whatever custody that you are missing before you show you are synced. But yes, till that time, maybe still you might still advertise a higher custody level, but that could be a small time, and the window, because the window is small for the epochs that you need to maintain the custody for.
Okay, nice. So it seems like we still have a few pending discussions on validated custody before we can probably provide a accurate estimates where we are, given that it could potentially change. So I guess this week it would be great if client teams can have a look at Gajinder's PR and provide feedback if possible. I see a few chat in the I see a few messages in the chat. Is there anything that anyone wants to talk about regarding validated custody before we move on? Okay, cool. Then we can move on. The next feature, distributed block publishing. Previously, it's called distributed block building, but now, given that we are planning to offload the computation to the transaction sender, so it effectively becomes distributed block publishing, and we kind of just want to have a bit of understanding on where teams are at the implementation. Have any teams started implementation?
Are you talking about GetBlock V2?
Well, we don't have V2 yet, so
Yeah.
I was kind of asking about V1 because at the moment we don't have V2 yet, but it's still distributed block building. But I was kind of curious, like how many CLs they actually published the data columns that was computed.
Yeah, so at Prism we choose not to use V1, but directly to implement V2. Of course, as I said, no.
With V2 is also a change that the EL needs, right? Or is this something else?
Yeah, we need to. There is no EL ready right now, but we still chose to start implementation with V2. Of course, it's kind of blocked right now, but at least we have something.
Do you have a PR or a spec? I see Marius is on the call. He's unmuted, so I'll let him talk.
Yes, so we're planning to implement V2 today and have like a mock version that turns all of the blobs in the transaction pool to the new chunked version so that CEOs can test. Should be done today or tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Let me know and I will try to test. Thank you. that's fast.
Nice. Thanks, Marius. Yeah, any other clients want have distributed publishing working?
We have dead blobs, but I don't think we have reached that stage where we actually didn't publish the code. So I still have to look, but we have the things done. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen.
Sorry, I missed that. Agnish, did you say that you have get blobs, but you don't have the publishing bit?
Yeah, I mean, we have it written, but we don't have it in exercise in this definite at least.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
What about Teku?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Oh, yeah. So the question is, do you guys have distributed block publishing working already? Like doing a get block from an EL and then compute column sidecars and publish to the network?
Yeah, sure. It's turned on by default for Supernode.
Great, thank you. Any other clients want to update? Okay, then I see that we have a few EL teams on the call. Does EL teams have any updates related to PeerDAS?
Okay. So I'm writing EL support in Nethermind right now, and generally it's in progress. But I have one issue I'm struggling with, and I would like to clarify that I am missing something or we missed something. So when we receive a blob in blob transaction in a new format, so with style proofs, we need to verify it. And like in old structure, there is one blob, one commitment, one proof. In new structure, it's one blob, one commitment, and n proofs. So in one blob, it's 128 for now, cell proofs. And when I'm trying to verify it in CKZG, it verifies cell KZG proof buff. It is requiring one commitment per one cell, not one per the whole blob. So my question here is, I am missing something, or we need to extend commitments to not only proofs?
I think you just have to repeat the same commitment like 128 times, like for each cell, because the function can be used for verifying cells from different blobs. Like you could use this across different blobs. Sorry, yeah, I guess so. I said you have to repeat the one commitment for 28 times. That's also not right. You have to repeat like the commitments for the first blob 128 times, and then the commitment for the second blob 128 times, and so on. So you basically have to match like each cell with the commitment, and it's gonna lead to like a bunch of repetition.
Okay, thanks for clarification. So I will do it, and then I think it will be yes. When it will be finished, I think I can prepare our get blobs like with CL communication, and it should be done like soon.
Does the current implementation take advantage of the commitments? Because there's some optimization that can be done when you have many tools for the same commitment.
Sorry, I don't think I got that. Thank you. You're breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit. Would you mind repeating that?
Oh, so there is an optimization in the verification function when you have the same commitment multiple ones. So like I wanted to check if anyone knows that CKCG has done that. If you repeat the commitment, does it automatically compare those commitments?
I don't know if there's anyone here, but I can ask Justin later.
Yeah, we should check that. Because the original specs I implemented, like basically allowed you to do a pointer to the commitment, I think. And that like directly take advantage of those. So I don't know if the current one does, but like for this use case, it would be, of course, like a massive advantage to that.
Yes, Agnish?
I have a general question regarding get logs. That is, I saw the Grafana charts that you posted a couple of weeks ago in PeerDAS testing, and I noticed a miss rate. It was, as you mentioned, it was 0 to 8 blobs, EL blobs per minute. So the point is, like, how much of an optimization is it really? Like, so for us, what happens is, when I try to like get blobs working in Pectra, the thing is there is a miss rate, and whatever is missing, I'm getting it from Gossip. It's like I'm not being able to totally bypass Gossip, blob Gossip validation as well. I mean, if I could do that, then I would save a lot of um, like bandwidth and CPU as well. But like, oh, I mean, maybe not bandwidth totally, but still, at least what do you call 9 verify KZG proofs and 9 verify inclusion proofs on an average, like not on an average, like on the max side. But there is a miss rate, right? So that's mainly the reason that we are still not putting it in action in let's say in PeerDAS DevNet as well. Like because there is again no clear spec whether we should retry or not, whether we should like do something else to get a better success rate from the EL side. So that's pretty much the reason why we don't have it in action.
Right. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I had a bit of thought on that as well, because with PeerDAS, it's the hit rate is actually really important, because if we don't have all the blobs, then we can't really compute the columns. So this is something that we are I think we should try to optimize, just to see how we can improve the hit rate. And yeah, I feel like we need to like probably spend some time working with the EL team to see how we can improve the hit rate and the response time. Because I also noticed that between different EL clients, the response time and hit rate could differ. So I think it would be good to get some numbers on that. And I know that there's some teams that are currently actively testing and capturing some metrics on get blobs.
Yeah, I mean, so Dimitri mentioned a couple of minutes ago that he uses get blobs for the supernode. So that would be my question. Like, if you don't receive all the blobs, then like a question for Dimitri, maybe like, what do? Do you retry or do you receive the rest from Gossip? Like, yeah.
We just skip this kind of reconstruction. It's not used. So if we get all blobs, we do it. If not, we just failed. We get it in normal way, data columns and.
Right, exactly. So that's pretty much my concern. Like, even if it puts you to an advantage, I mean, how big of that advantage is it really? So anyway, this needs more research of this.
Yeah. Also, I think there are at least two advantages. Like one is on the node where you do a fetch blob, and if you get all the blobs, then you can make the block available and start testing to it. So you can essentially like shorten your block available delay. And the other advantage is if you have some supernode in the network that's able to fetch all the blobs from the EL, then they could like compute and publish the sidecar to the network. So to help with propagation, just in case if the proposer is not able to publish them all out quickly. So there's still like it's still quite useful for like blob propagation in PeerDAS.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for Pectra, when I was looking at it, I was like, we would still, like, let's say I got the first 5 out of 9 blobs from get blobs, and the last 4 are left. But since I'm already subscribed, I anyway receive all 9. I just don't verify the first 5. So, I mean, there's not much saving in bandwidth as well. Maybe like one really good optimization would be like if there would be a very high chance of hit rate, then we might as well unsubscribe from blog. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Because that's what the entire point is, right? Maybe if we can cache exchange capabilities and yeah, I mean we still have to see. But I think the point is I don't in terms of PeerDAS, it does put us to an advantage, but for Pectra, I'm not very sure. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I have to say. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, hopefully we'll have some numbers soon to understand the behavior a bit more. Okay, do we have any more client updates? I guess Marius kind of gave us his updates. So unless you have anything else to add, Marius?
Not really, but we might wanted to talk about the networking package layout later on. Like Felix is here with me.
Yeah, hello. So I mostly just wanted to get some clarity on this TR for EIP 7594 regarding the format of like the encoding of the transactions on PDP and on the PPC layer. Hello?
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so in the PR, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but basically we just propose an encoding for the transactions where we would add some kind of proof type identifier into the encoding. So it seems like so far one of the proposals has been to just reuse the same RLP format that we have right now, since it contains pretty much the same fields. But we do think it would be good to have some kind of explicit identifier for the proof type. And I just wanted to quickly discuss this so we can get to an agreement there, like what we're going to do.
Does any EL devs want to chime in on this?
Yes, I generally like the idea, but I have concern about backwards compatibility. So if we will have a transaction without this this version, then we can say it's old type, and when we'll have a new version, so with version 2, then we will treat it as new format, or how do you see it?
Yeah, so I feel like it's pretty much the same as always in Ethereum. Like we started out with like the initial version, and it doesn't have a version identifier. But if we just add a single version byte now, this is something that can very much be detected during the encoding. So because the RLP decoding always proceeds field by field, so it means that as it enters the list, it will first parse the normal transaction payload, which is unchanged for the proofs. And then it will, as soon as it hits the second element of this list, it can then check, is it like the byte with value 2, just a single byte? And if it is, then we know it's like the new proof version. So what I propose there in the PR is kind of something that can be parsed correctly right now. Whereas with this other thing, it's kind of like you would have to pass the entire transaction, and then while you are passing, you have to count the elements. And then if it has more than one element, then you know it's the new type. I mean, it's possible, but it it's nicer to have an explicit identifier kind of.
Yes, okay. So for Nethermind, it's like not a problem to add it.
Yeah, so I also commented on the PR and proposed that maybe we leave the third element of the array as undefined or empty element, and then the fourth one is a self proofs. And I think this is pretty easily identifiable and would not really change anything in RPL encoding, decoding, or any of the other places. So this will be pretty contained, and we don't even need to have a separate transaction type that we need to include.
Sorry, Gajita, where did you? Here. Okay. Yeah, that kind of sucks, I think. In my sorry, that is probably not the right solution, because if we do a version byte, we can even change the encoding or like the algorithm by which we are verifying. So in the future, if we might want to switch away from KZG, we could have different types for the same, because it's only in the same wrapper.
Yeah, I also kind of see it like this. I think that ultimately this area, as we are now seeing, is something that will be a bit of an ongoing project, because as the DAS in Ethereum adapts, we may even want to change the proofs one more time or something. So it's kind of like, I feel like having a version here is kind of appropriate, because it will probably change again.
Especially because KZG is not quantum resistant. So.
Or we can also go for SSD transactions.
Any other comment?
Yeah, but I don't think we should speculate on stuff that might come in the future. Like we can also decide not to have any transactions in the future anymore, and just like only send the raw data or whatever, or we create a transaction type that encompasses all transaction types. But I think this is a way to make it kind of future proof. It's an easy way to make it future proof for different proof schemes.
Nice. Seems like there's a bit of a discussion on the PR. Do we want to carry on the discussion here, or are we good to continue async after this call?
I think the quicker we can make the decision, the quicker we can actually start implementing it, and so the consensus there is not locked on us. I don't know. I would give it maybe like, let's give it one or two more days, finish the discussion on the PR, and then merge it as soon as possible.
Okay, great. Yeah, so yeah, I'll also post in the chat as well, just to remind people to have a look at this PR in the next 1 or 2 days. And it'd be great to have this finalized. So yeah, not only the EL team, but also the CL teams can start implementation. Great, thank you. Any more spec discussions, given that we've already jumped to spec discussion? All right, we're going in reverse order today. I guess, Perry, do you want to give an update on the DevNet?
Yeah, sure. So since about a week and a half-ish, we have been running some portion of the DevNet as full nodes. There was one bug in Prism where we had the subscribe all subnets flag left over from a different config stage. That's since been fixed. It would be nice if all clients can have a look again, if we are indeed set them up properly as full nodes. we're still working on making that concept a bit more configurable on our stack, but we got a bit sidetracked with Holsky. I updated the network earlier today to be 13 full nodes and then around 8 super nodes. So that represents about a 60-40 split. And this is very similar to what we imagine would happen on mainnet as well. We'll, of course, stress it more, but it's been stable for the last half-ish hour. We will do a few Genesis sync tests, but I've been told other client teams have been doing this as well, and that's been working okay. So I think the basic happy path is looking good. And now we can start more stressing the network and trying to break it, I guess. Yeah, I think that's it for DevNet 5. I would like to start discussing and scoping DevNet 6, so we have all the pieces in place for that. Do you want to do that now, Jimmy, or wait for some other updates on DevNet 5 before?
I don't know if we have any other DevNet 5 updates. Agnish?
So I think since we just put the full node density up right now, I think we should let it leave. We should leave it to run for a few days at least.
Yeah, DevNet 5 won't go anywhere. I just see DevNet
Right.
6 as something that happens in, let's say, 2-ish weeks. So it would be nice if we already align on what needs to happen for DevNet 6, so that everyone has enough time to work on that.
It sounds like the biggest change that we could do in DevNet 6 will be the EL integration on the cell proof. So it might be longer than 2 weeks, but I feel like at the same in the meantime we'll probably need to do a lot of testing on DevNet 5 with validated custody.
Okay, maybe we then start with what else we want to do on DevNet 5, and then we can end the topic with what we want to have on DevNet 6.
Yeah, there is something I would like to see on DevNet 5 is a checkpoint sync. Yeah. Unless I'm mistaken, right now checkpoint Z is the finalized checkpoint available on checkpoint Z is last Electra checkpoint and not full at all.
Yep, that should be. We'll ping Sam about it. I think he would just need the dependency updated. We'll figure it out on it.
That's cool. Thanks.
Any other specific tests we want to see on DevNet 5?
I think we can take the supernode density even lesser after we see that it's stable for a week. And I think validated custody should be in the DevNet. And validated custody should be in.
But that's something as soon as any client has, we can just update, right? There's no need for coordination on that.
Right. Yeah, but I think it would be interesting if we spin up the new DevNet and we every client team actually gets to see validated custody getting enabled across as soon as Fulu gets triggered. That part. We would be missing that part if we don't spin up validated custody in a new DevNet. So I think that might be a bit useful to have.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. But that we can also do parallelly with Katosis, I guess.
Yes, can do that.
Emmanuel?
Yeah, I would like to know if it is possible to add the Prism flag data column with hard count on this flag when a Prism proposes a block. It with hard on purpose some data columns, so in this case 64 data columns, and so it can test really in real conditions reconstruction part of other nodes at the network.
Perfect. How many Prism nodes should we add this to? All of them or just one?
Well, let's test with at least one at the moment, and if it is successful, we can maybe test with more than one.
Okay.
We have a high participation rate, so you should just YOLO it.
Here we like non-finality testing.
Cool. Anything else with DevNet 5? We only have 10 more minutes left. I think we still have a few things to go through. Manu, you still have your hands up? Is this from a previous round?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, then maybe the TLDR for DevNet 6 is we focus on getting EL involvement. We'll do some local tests in the meantime and then report back as soon as Marius gives us an image. And I guess we just coordinate on the PeerDAS testing chat as to which CL is also ready for the EL change. If there is a specific CL that's already going to work with the changes, then please let us know.
We should probably also discuss timelines. Otherwise, we're just gonna keep pushing this forward. So maybe we can try to aim for launching the DevNet 6 with the EL changes in like next week after that.
Yeah, I'd say ideally next week, but it seems like validator custody might take about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure like when we're gonna get the DevNet 6 scope implemented, because I mean, do we just want to start with one EL client, or do we want to like have as many EL clients as possible to start with?
I think one for now is good.
Yeah,
and then we can focus on more.
I'd start with Geth, and then we can expand that once that's ready. And yeah, Gajendra would do ETMTS, so we can do that too.
Nice, cool. Then yeah, client team can share progress and see, like, and we can start DevNet 6 whenever we're ready.
How big is the change on the side for this, by the way?
Sorry, could you repeat that, Barnabas?
How big is the change on the side?
Marius offered to do it by end of day, so can't be massive.
Okay. So DevNet 6 spec by end of day.
Also note on DevNet 6 or generally DevNets. So I've been thinking about mining some node keys so that we can like better control the column distribution across the DevNet, so that we don't have to, randomly spin up many VMs and instead can like, I don't know, spin up like 32 VMs that cover the whole distribution for the columns. And the only requirement for this would be that we can set the node keys at the CLs on every client. I've pinged already some of you on Discord. I think most clients replied, and I think it's possible. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it's mostly possible. Is there any CL clients that doesn't support overriding node keys? Okay, Barnabas asked the same question. Yeah, so it seems like everyone supports it.
Does everyone also support it in a nice way? Like not a way we have to put a file in a certain location in disk or something?
Well, the file is good. But yeah, I guess if it's just like a CLI flag or file or an envar, I mean, that's all simple. But
it's a file for us. It's not so smooth, but it's there.
Okay, sounds good.
Right. Yeah, we've only got 5 minutes left. I just want to quickly share that Francis from base team. He's curated a document. I'm sure some of you have already seen it. I've shared it in the chat. He's got a basically like a roadmap for PeerDAS, like containing all the tasks that are in progress and that needs to be done. So I think for now this will replace the readiness checklist because it's easier to edit for people. So it'd be great if everyone can have a look at it and see if we've missed anything. Yeah, we've only have 4 minutes left. I think we actually have one agenda item from Tem Park. I don't know if he's on the call. But yeah, what he's requesting is basically he wants some ideas from client teams. If there's any particular metrics that that you want to see, would be good to share ASAP because yeah, they're going to start testing. They're going to start running some testing with big blob counts. So be good to get some interesting metrics. Yeah, we do have a thread start on the PeerDAS testing chat. So if you have anything, we can also add it in the chat. Okay, nice. We've got Nethermind for the next DevNet. That would be great. Does anyone have any open questions or any open items to discuss for the last 3 minutes? All right. Yeah, thank you, everyone. So in the next couple of days, be good if people can review Gajinder's change and provide feedback, and also review the networking format PR, and we'll try to finalize in the next 2 days. And yeah, looking forward to test in the next DevNet with all the ELs, and we're getting closer to ready. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Good call. For next week's call, it's going to be back to 2 p.m. UTC. So I'll add a reminder to the chat as well. Yeah, spec freeze, hopefully ASAP. Thanks, everyone. See you in chat offline.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.